Good morning or afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is a position-specific webinar in that we are going to be talking about the Chapter Webmaster position. So we're going to be talking about the chapter websites. Really, what are the chapter websites? Where are they located? How are they accessed? What do they look like? And what can we do with them? Because the great thing about the chapter websites is that, because they're hosted through BNI Connect, they really give easy access to anybody that has even a minor amount of skills, having ever maybe edited a Word document or uploaded a picture online, to be able to go in and manage these chapter websites. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, the chapter web pages. Before we get started, a couple of very quick housekeeping things, the first of which is that this is a live webinar. So if you have any questions as we're going through the material today, please do feel free to ask those questions. You can type those questions into the questions panel. I will get to see those pop up on my screen, and I will answer them as we're going through the stuff today. We already have one comment up there from Deep T, says hi and welcome back. I think maybe setting a record of being on just about every webinar this month. So thank you so much for investing the time and learning more about BNI Connect and joining us for this webinar as well. We're scheduled for about 30 minutes. It takes about 30 minutes to go through this particular subject matter. That being said, ask as many questions as you'd like, and I will be happy to stay on this call until every question has been answered. We are recording this webinar as well. You'll be able to find the recording both on our support site, support.bniconnect.com, or hitting the question mark in the upper right-hand corner of BNI Connect. Also, it will be on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. Again, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. So let's take a look at this today. So again, we're talking about the chapter websites. Now, one thing that you may or may not know is that every single chapter in the world, and right now there's over 7,000 chapters of BNI worldwide, every single chapter has the ability to have their own website up in BNI Connect. Now, by default, it is a template-driven website. So we're going to put up the base content for you, and then you can go in and edit that. So taking a look at this, what do the chapter websites look like and where are they located? Well, every region has their own regional website and every country has their own country website. So what I'm looking at right now on the screen here is BNI Antarctica, or AntarcticReferrals.com. This is just a testing site that I've put up so that we can kind of play with the stuff that's up there. And if I go to find a chapter, and by the way, this is a completely default website, and I go and I look for all the chapters in Antarctica. We can see all of our chapters up here. We have the Chili Hillbillies chapter and the Cold Cash Referrals and the Frozen Assets chapter. If I go in, let's say just the first one here, the BNI Burr chapter, this is the chapter details page where it just gives us the list of all the members in the chapter and where we meet and how many members we have and things like that. But there's also a button here that says chapter website, and I can go to chapter website, and this will bring me to, again, the default chapter website. Now, again, this is out of the box website. No modifications have been made to this site whatsoever. You can see that we start off with a couple of pages here. We have the home page, the chapter members page, and each member also has their profile page. And we have a chapter news page. On the left-hand side, we can see some details about the chapter. On the bottom, we can see our chapter speakers. And then in the middle, there's some default text and a default image. One of the great things about the BNI Connect-driven chapter websites is that there is some branding that's automatically done for you. Not only is it part of the regional site, so we have all of BNI's SEO behind us and their regional sites that people are already accessing. But one of the challenges that a lot of chapters have is that, as people join the chapter, as people leave the chapter, just keeping up with trying to get content from members becomes a major challenge. So keeping the roster up to date, for example, is almost an impossible task. And what ends up happening is there's a lot of webmasters out there that have developed, I'm brand new to the chapter, I'm the chapter web designer, let me show people what I can do, and they set up a chapter website, and then all of a sudden they realize it's really hard to chase people down for information, and people leave and join and things like that, and the chapter website then gets out of date very quickly. At the very least, with the BNI Connect sites, your chapter members, your list of members, and your roster is going to be updated. And when a member updates their profile in BNI Connect, it's automatically updated on all of the various sites, on the regional site, on the country site, on the chapter site as well. So the profile is now everywhere. So the management of it gets to be a lot less complicated. All you really have to worry about is updating the content here. Now, as I said, this is a very default chapter site. No changes have been made to this whatsoever. Let's take a look at a couple of other sites to see what they could look like. I'm going to do a Google search real quick. There is a site out there. It's called the BNI Rugby chapter, BNI Rugby. And this is the site right here, BNI Business Networking in Rugby, Warwickshire. And this is what they've done to their site. You can see that it has the same structure. So it still has the information down the left-hand side. It still has the header. It still has the same pages. But they've done a lot of customization to this particular site. We can see on the left-hand side that they've put in a bunch of social media links that you can go and click through and get to those pages. The same thing in the upper right-hand corner as well. So they've put these into the code for the site. Then what they've done is they have edited this page, and they've taken the approach of making one really, really, really long page, but you can see they've put pictures, and they put videos, and they put links, and they put all sorts of things into this particular site that makes it a lot more interesting, including a map to their chapter location. And if we go and we look at their chapter members page, for example, they put a nice graphic up as a header at the top of that, and then they have their members listed. And of course, the same thing, you can click through to the members, and if their member has their profile filled out, it will be updated here as well. There's also one additional page that's available that you have to enable called the gallery page, and the gallery page allows you to put up photo albums with photos. It's basically allows you to put in a slideshow. And then they also have the news function, and the news function allows you to put up various news-related articles without even accessing this chapter website. So this is one version of a chapter website and some stuff that they have done with this. Now, let's take a look at another one just to see what can be done. There's one called the Golden Ideas BNI chapter in San Francisco, and here's the site here. Now, they've taken a similar approach. They've gone with a 2-column format, but you can see they put a map there. They put a nice new logo on there. They've changed their picture. Again, this is all stuff that's changed from the default. What I thought was really interesting that they've done, and again, you have to be a little bit more advanced in the coding department, but under their chapter members, they put in a little filter here where you can go in and view their chapter based on power team. So I can look at the business to consumers, and then look at the new house power team. And I can see that involves Connor and Paul and Sabri and Scott and Suzanne. So it's really filtering out and grouping the chapter. Again, that is something that they've done themselves in order to boost the functionality of their site here. And again, they have their gallery as well, and they have the chapter news function enabled. So these are all things that are part of this site. So how do we go in and we actually update this information? Well, that's all done from the inside of BNI Connect. So if you just click on your regional website, or you go to BNI Connect, you can go directly to bniconnect.com, sign in, and the ability to edit the website is here within the logged in portion of BNI Connect. Now, in order to access the the tools. They're called CMS tools. CMS stands for Content Management System. To access those tools, you do have to either be usually on the leadership team, so the president or the vice president or the secretary treasurer, or you have to be assigned as the chapter webmaster. Once you are assigned, you will then see the functionality to get into the back end. So the place that we go for this is we do have to go beyond the home screen here, and we're going to go to Tools, CMS. So Tools, CMS, and then what you'll see is the chapter websites. So Tools, CMS, chapter websites. Again, if you don't see Tools or you don't see CMS, it's because you don't yet have the permissions. So please do go and speak with your regional office, speak with your director consultant or your executive director, and let them know that you'd like to be the chapter webmaster, and they can assign that to you. Once you're here, you'll see all of the different websites that you have access to change or to edit. Now, in my case, because I'm a sysadmin, I see all of them. More than likely, when you log in, you would only see the one chapter that you are the chapter webmaster for. I can click on the site name here, and it'll open a new tab, and it'll bring me to the site as it currently looks. Or I can click on this Edit button here under the Options. This brings us into the CMS Editor for this particular site. Let me explain a little bit about the layout here. So here we have different tabs along the top that will take us into the different areas of the site. The first one is the Pages, which has all of the various pages for editing the site. We have the home page, the chapter members page, then we have sub-pages of the chapter members page. That's what the chevron symbol is there, the greater than symbol. We have member details, chapter details, and send message. Then we have the gallery tab, and we have the news tab. And down at the bottom, we have a preview URL and live URL. And this is pretty important to understand, is that there's actually two different sites that are going. There's what we call the preview site. That's the draft copy of your website. So as you start working on your website and you're making changes to it, we can't see those changes until you're ready to show them to us. They're all going to happen on this draft copy on the preview site. Now, right now, because I haven't made any changes, both the preview site, if I click on this, both this site and the live site are both going to be identical. The other one was just zoomed in a little bit. But these are both identical right now until I go in and start making changes. But once I start making changes, I can keep making them in this draft copy. And then when I'm ready to show the world, I'm ready to release those changes, then what you do is you click this Publish button here. And what that'll do is take whatever you're working on that preview site, and it will copy it and overwrite the live site. So again, as you're working on it, you won't see the changes immediately if you just go to the chapter page. Once you publish them, they will become live to everybody else in the world. So before I go into the details of this pages, let's take a look at these other two tabs up at the top here. We have the Library tab and the Site Information tab. Now the Library is if you want to put pictures on your website, what you have to do is you have to actually get them into the BNI Connect servers first. And that's putting the images into the library. Then they become available on your website. You can place them wherever you want to place them. But the first step is to upload them into the BNI Connect server. And you do that, you go to the library, and then images, we click the upload button. Once we get here, we can click on the magnifying glass, and what this is going to do is go and search your computer for images that you want to upload. So let's say I'd like to put this, this webinar image up there, and this world graphic image up there, and maybe this goal image up there. And I click Open. I can do up to 3 images at a time, and then I click Upload. And now we can see that these 3 images are in my library, and I'll be able to use them. Now, there's no limit on the number of images that you can upload into the library. There is a 5 megabyte per image limit. To be honest with you, when it comes to graphics and web design, you really want to keep the images as small as possible while maintaining the resolution that you would like. The bigger the actual files are and the higher resolution the images are, the harder it is for people to download that every time they go and they view your site. Now, the documents and the Flash objects, nobody really uses Flash anymore, but you do have the ability to upload Flash and documents objects in the exact same way. If you want to clean up your library, you can always just put check marks in the ones you want to remove and then click the delete button. All right, the next tab over, that's the Site Information tab. Now, the Site Information tab is really it's a couple of back-end settings. You do want to be a little bit careful with these. But the one that you really want to pay attention to here is what's called the chapter folder name. Most of the rest of these you really want to leave as they are because it's just controlling the names of the buttons. And if you're going to put analytics code in to track people that are going to your site, you can put it in there. But this up here, the chapter folder name, what that is that is the address that you give people if you want them to go to your website. And right now, again, because this is an auto-generated site, that's part of the regional website. So the address that you would tell people, oh yeah, go visit my chapter website. It's antarctic-referrals.com/shiver-region-bni--- and what it's doing is it's auto-generating a name based on the name of your region and the name of your chapter. And then it puts in dashes wherever there be spaces or illegal characters. One of the things that you want to do is to probably make this a little bit more user-friendly. And what I do is probably just call this the BUR chapter. So now I can tell people once I save this, oh, just go to antarctic-referrals.com/BUR, and that's with 3 R's. Much easier to say than shiver-region-bur-chapter. And you can see here now this URL has changed to antarctic-referrals.com/BUR. Once I click publish, that change now becomes live, and I can go right to that website, antarctic-referrals.com/BUR. Let's take a look at some of the other stuff that's here on the various pages. Now you'll see for each of the pages we have 3 options. We have edit name, edit meta tags, and edit content. And then down towards the bottom we have a couple of special ones called show and hide for the gallery and the news. Now editing the name will edit the name of the page or the button that it's associated with. For example, this home button here, if I go out to the site, that would be the home button that's up here, the tab. Chapter members and news. Home, chapter members, and news. I can always go in and edit that. Let's say I don't want it to be home. I want this to be about our chapter. Right? I can click submit. And if I go back to the preview page, oh, that's the real page. If I go to the preview page here, now it says about our chapter instead of home. And the same is true for chapter members and news. Now you'll notice that there's a gallery page, but I don't have a gallery tab up here. I can enable that page by clicking on show. And once I click submit, now I will see a gallery page here as well. And the same thing, if we're not using the news, for example, I could always hide the news page by hiding it. And now I'll have a gallery page, but not a news page. Right? Now the gallery, if you remember, that's a special picture gallery that allows you to put photo albums up of your chapter. Just like the library where you put your images up that you're going to use on the page, the gallery has its own special uploading where you can put those photos in and create the albums. All you have to do is click on Add Album. You can create a new album. And then upload pictures into that album. So I can go in, I can manage photos, and then I can add photos into the various albums that I create. Now once I upload this, if I go back to the preview site, I should now have the gallery. I now have this wonderful album that I created and the photo that I put into that album. All right, meta tags, which you can do for each of your pages, it's really an art form. This really helps with the SEO. So for more information about this, please do talk to your SEO person in your chapter if you're not already versed in search engine optimization, and they can really help you out with strategies for putting in good descriptions and keywords and meta tags. And then finally, we have the edit content. And the edit content is really the bread and butter of what you'll be doing with your particular chapter site. So let's go ahead and let's go in and edit our About Our chapter, our home page. So we do that by clicking on Edit Content. Now, one thing to keep in mind, you'll notice this just opened up in a new window entirely. So over the years, I've had a lot of people that say, oh, I click that button and nothing happens. I'm clicking the button, nothing's happening. Check your pop-up blocker. If you have a pop-up blocker in effect, then it will block this page from opening up. So check that first. But once it opens up, you will see your About Our chapter page, and we can start editing it. A couple of things to point out first. You'll notice that the left-hand side here, there's nothing in here that I can edit, and that's because all of that is, if you recall, the chapter information that's being pulled back into BNI Connect, or being pulled from BNI Connect and automatically shown on your chapter site. And the same thing with the chapter speakers. That's automatically taken from BNI Connect and displayed as soon as your chapter secretary enters all the speaker rotation into BNI Connect. So that's all automatically managed and updated. Really what we're going to be working with is this central area and updating the content that's there. We can, again, start putting in our own words, our own pictures, our own graphics, all of that. For those of you that you can also increase the area that you're working on here by dragging that bar down. For those of you that are on the call that are web designers by nature, there is a source button here where you can look at the code directly and make the edits. If you'd like to program directly in HTML, you can do that right from this page. This is also, even if you're not an HTML person, and I am not an HTML person myself, I just know enough to be dangerous. This is a great way to back up your site as well. If you just select all, copy this, and put this into a notepad document and save this. Save it as a backup of your site. That way, if you ever need to revert back to the original version, you can always copy and paste that source code right back in, and it will be back to normal. And of course, if I click the source button again, it brings me right back to the WYSIWYG, the what you see is what you get version of it. Now, editing the site here is pretty straightforward. If you've ever edited a Word document, that's pretty much what you're doing here. You can go and you can retype things, take them out. Most of the things that you'll see up here in the menu bar are identical to what you'd find in Microsoft Word or Excel or any word editing software. So you can type in it, I can highlight that stuff, and then I can make it bold or italic or underline. I can change the font size. I can change the color. I can change the background. So, I mean, pretty much all the editing you can do in a Word document, you could do here. I could do bullets and numbers. Pretty straightforward stuff as far as all of that goes. I do recommend, by the way, the branded font of BNI is an Arial font, so please do try to stick to that family when you can. If you do need to put other fonts in for emphasis, obviously that is at your own discretion, but Arial is the preferred font of BNI and BNI Connect. Some of the things that may not be familiar from a regular regular Word document or anything like that, specific to really the web design aspect. So for example, if you want to link something, so if you want somebody when they click on something, you want it to take them to another page or to another website, for example. So let's say BNI right here. If when somebody clicked on BNI members, I want them to take it to the www.bni.com corporate site. What I would do is I'd highlight it and I'd click this link button. And then I can just put in www.bni.com. I can copy and paste it from the address bar if I go to the other site. And now anytime somebody clicks on that, you see it turns blue and underlined, it will take them off to that web page. Adding images is done in a similar way. So if I now want to get a picture onto my website, what I would do is click this picture button. This will allow me to then browse the server library. So this is why you have to upload it ahead of time into the library. I click Browse Server, and I'll see some stock images, but I'll also see the 3 images that I uploaded. So here's that goals one that I uploaded. Here's the 2 webinar and the global webinar one. So if I want this goal to be in there, I'm going to click on that, and it's going to, I can adjust the size. Let's say 350 is a little big. I want it to be 250. I can click OK, and now my image is here. So you can put all the images into the document. By the way, linking works with images too. Essentially, it's making something a button. So if I want somebody, when they click on goal here, I want to take them to a site, I can highlight that image, click the link button, and let's say I want them to take you to supports.bniconnect.com. I want to go to the support site. Click OK, and now if anybody clicks on that image, it will bring you over to the support site. Now there's tons of other tools in here. Up here there's form building tools. You do need to know a little bit of coding in order to do that. But when you're ready, just click this save button at the top. It'll give you a preview of what your gorgeous new website is going to look like. And if I go and I check out my website, oh no, I can see that it's not changed yet. And if you remember, that's because I have to do the publishing. So if I go and I view my preview site, that will show me what I was working on and what it's going to look like once I publish it. So if I go ahead and click publish, and the live URL will now react, and this has all of the changes and updates that I made to make my site more beautiful. And in a nutshell, essentially that is the chapter web pages. And I do know that we have a couple of director consultants and a couple of regional officers, regional admins on the line with us today. For those of you that are going to be editing the regional sites are essentially the same exact technology. The only difference is that you have a number of additional pages. The chapter websites, one question I do get asked a lot is, how do I add a page? On the chapter websites, you are limited to these pages that are listed, so we can't add any pages. The only thing you can really do is turn on and off the gallery and the news tab. The gallery tab is something that you could theoretically kind of repurpose a little bit. Okay, so that's essentially, again, that is the chapter websites. Let's see, questions. I would love to answer questions. So Devin says, what are your thoughts to building a custom chapter website? Devin, I discourage it, and the reason why I discourage it, some of the things that I said in the beginning, I'm not sure if you were here for the beginning of the webinar, but the chapter websites are a challenge when you're building them on your own. I know a lot of people are very proficient in their skills and being able to use various technologies. However, it's a lot of time invested to do that. And what we've found in almost every case out there is that being the chapter webmaster and trying to chase your chapter members down, for example, just to fill out their profiles, for example, on your chapter site and also fill out their profiles on BNI Connect and provide content for all this, it becomes a full-time job pretty quickly. And then because membership does change, we're hopefully all of our chapters are growing, and we're growing from 30 to 35 to 40 to 45 people. Just keeping up with having to add and delete people from this extra website also becomes very challenging and a lot of work. So we do find the chapter websites, they tend to, when you build them outside of BNI Connect, they tend to fall out of compliance, both branding compliance and keeping up with the chapter members. They fall out of date very, very quickly. So while they may not, I'm not sure if they're completely, quote unquote, outlawed yet. That's something to talk to with your executive director, but they are highly discouraged. If you own your own chapter domain name, for example, if I owned bniburchapter.com, I could create an A record to repoint it to this chapter page. That would be my recommendation, but I don't recommend building one on your own. Does that make sense, Devin? Does that help? And if you are going to build one on your own, please talk to your executive director. Also, familiarize yourself with bnibranding.com. bnibranding.com. This has all of the official logos and things like that with the complete rules. If you do build one outside of BNI Connect and they do find it, you will be held to branding compliance as well. Eddie says, critical note to those new to build website building, backup, 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 and save your work often. Yes, we do not have a backup of these websites. They are, you have your preview site and your live site, so definitely make a copy of that source code. And again, that allows you to revert as well. I can go in, for example, go to edit content. I have this backup that I made, so I'm going to Control A, Control C. Go back to the source here, Control A, Control V. I'm going to save that, and now our site is back to its former glory and no longer messed up as much as I had it. So good call, Eddie. Thank you very much for that advice. All right, additional questions. Do we have any additional questions? I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Eddie says, what about video options? So video, what you want to do is you can host a video on Vimeo, on YouTube, on any of these other video sites, and then what you want to do is get the embed code. For example, I'll show you how to put a video right here into this page. So I have a ton of videos up on YouTube. So if I go to youtube.com, BNI Connect Global, this is our YouTube site. So let's say that I have this, I have a bunch of videos up here, this BNI education moment on building your network, right? So I go to the video, and what I want to do is share and then get the embed code, not just the link, but I want to actually embed it into the site. So all I need to do is take this code. If I want to resize it, I can choose more options and I can change it to a custom size. Maybe I only want it to be 300 pixels wide. It'll update this code for me. Then I just Control A, Control C. I'm going to go and edit our page. And let's say I want to put it right on the home page. Now for this, you do have to go into the source code. Here's a little trick that I use. Let's say that I want the video to appear in between these two paragraphs. I'm going to put XXXXXXXX here. Now when I go to the source code, I can look for this XXXXX. So this is now where I want this to be located. I can just now do Control V and paste that iframe code in, go back, and now I'll see a placeholder for it. When I save this and go to the preview page, now you can see this video is actually embedded right into my chapter page. And I can publish this, and it will be live now on the page. And it's the same exact thing for the Facebook things and the Facebook embedding the Facebook code into there. You can get those various codes from the websites and be able to embed all of these extra things into the site itself. So does that answer your question, Eddie? By the way, in case you guys weren't on like one of my previous webinars about member profiles, you can also embed videos in member profiles, and that's done by, if I go to my own options, my account, I go to my own profile, you can input the iframe code right into the My BNI Business or the My Business here. You can put an iframe code and embed a 60-second presentation about yourself or something similar to that in the My Business in order to have one of those on your profile. So here's my profile, and you can see I have a video as part of my profile. All right. So good question, Eddie. Thank you. All right. Any additional questions? All right, if there's no additional questions, I just want to say to everybody, thank you guys so much for being here on the webinar, especially Deep to You has been, I think, on 6 or 7 webinars so far this month, so thank you for joining me for all of these. And if you have any questions, please do feel free to email us, support@bniconnect.com. And then, or go to support.bniconnect.com and click on Submit a Request. I am not the expert of CMS on the team. We do have another person on the team. His name is Frank. And any complicated questions, I'd be happy to pass those along to him. And we definitely will be happy to help you out in any way we can. So Eddie says, thanks for delivering the seminar, and you are most welcome, Eddie. Good luck with your chapter site. And on that note, I'll say thank you again, and have a wonderful holiday for those of you in the United States that will be celebrating Thanksgiving a little bit later this week. Happy connecting, everyone.